Welcome to the Waylon perspective. Please like and press that subscribe button. I appreciate it very much. This is my reaction to Dan Vasc and Eric July as NORFRICA performing Glorious Death. Let's commence. Ladies and gentlemen, man, I have to control the gear here, otherwise everything's gonna go flying everywhere. Am I still plugged in? I think I am. It's actually one shouldn't just headbang like that. One should prepare the world before you absolutely go at it. But I'm pretty sure everything here is still in place. Dan Vasc. The young man is just so epic every single time he performs, ladies and gentlemen. I am so familiar with this young man's brilliance because I've checked out his performances so many times. And here he is teaming up with an individual known as Eric July. I do not know who Eric is, and together they are NORFRICA. And they're performing this track for us here, ladies and gentlemen, and this epic vibe in terms of the metal kicking in. It is just undeniable stuff, ladies and gentlemen. You know I appreciate my heavy music, my guitar-driven music, my epic music. I appreciate that sort of thing, ladies and gentlemen, and this is usually where I get the workouts. You know what I mean? Head banging and, doing it because it's the responsible thing to do. That sort of thing, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Vasc, brilliant performer. I'm looking forward to what this one offers here, this track. Let's go.
Here we stand at the turn of the tide. I can see an innate desire. Sword in hand, warriors side by side. I can feel it, it burns like fire. Worlds collide, an unstable landscape, side by side. But that's what this man digs. Be it might and unlikely allegiance, we will fight because that's the best defense. No turning back, for such is our path. This day we find a glorious death.
Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me. This is awesomeness right here. Pure awesomeness. I'm absolutely digging this, intercutting vibe here between the live visuals and this comic book vibe going on. That's just wonderful stuff already. Eric July coming in with his vocals as well, just absolutely sounding capable. Dude coming in with some powerful vocals there. Dan Vasc, that initial style was almost like he was awesomely whispering, but also menacingly whispering. That sort of thing, ladies and gentlemen. There's just all sorts of awesomeness in this video and in this song. It's sounding wonderful. Was one of the lyrics I heard there, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I think he said the best defense is fighting, something along those lines. So the best defense is offense, that sort of thing. You know what I mean? You just absolutely got to go forward, and that way you win the day. That sort of thing. Ladies and gentlemen, wonderful stuff already. I'm liking the musicianship on this. I'm absolutely digging, the intensity of the vibe of the style going on here. Yours truly. I'm enjoying this sort of thing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm enjoying it calmly. One can, sit there, have a cup of tea, and then absolutely headbang. That sort of thing. Are you with me? Let's go.
Is clear as we ride against a dark empire. By my soul, may the last thing they hear be the roar of this raging choir. Listen, be the savagery mindset. Not today, we'll let loose and find it. Brutal will define our reaction. Whip out the throat of each one in their face.
ladies and gentlemen, utterly awesome, so intense, digging that melodic chorus immensely, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Vasc just effortlessly, doing that melody, but also doing those rough-edged, metal-style vocals, whether it's screams, whether it's growls, whether it's Dan singing wonderfully. His, vocal, that ability that he has vocally to, jump between styles, it's well documented. The young man's talent is utterly immense, ladies and gentlemen. Eric July also putting in a wonderful performance here. Their voices complementing each other wonderfully. The music, absolutely. This is just allowing these two dudes to absolutely be awesome. That's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. We've got all sorts of attitude in this song, in this track. They're giving you their mission statement. They're absolutely going to rock you, but they're also letting you know what they're all about, ladies and gentlemen. It's just freaking, it's ass-kicking stuff, ladies and gentlemen, is what I'm saying to you. That's what it's all about. These dudes absolutely rocking it. Eric Dwayne July was born in 1990. He is an American musician, YouTuber, comic book writer, and founder of Rippaverse Comics. Glorious Death is an original song by Dan Vasc and Eric July as part of their heavy metal project NORFRICA. It was released in 2025. That was glorious, sumptuous, enjoyable, incredible metal music, ladies and gentlemen. Brilliance facilitated by Dan Vasc and Eric July. NORFRICA giving us this track here, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was stunning. That was absolutely beyond epic for yours truly. Dan Vasc is always epic. Can I just say that? Dan Vasc has some unbelievable consistency when it comes to just being stunningly epic every single time. And this one, just ladies and gentlemen, this one rocked. Yours truly, absolutely. I don't know if you noticed, ladies and gentlemen, I was bouncing. This one had me bouncing off the walls, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely wonderful stuff happening here. This group here, Dan Vasc and Eric July, teaming up their heavy metal project known as NORFRICA. I mean, these are the sorts of things that should come with that awesome warning label. Contains awesomeness is the warning label. on the tin. And it should just let you know that if you step into this realm, you're absolutely gonna rock non-stop. They should let you know beforehand, because that is what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. I enjoyed every single second of that performance. The musical performance, absolutely rocking. Dan and Garrett J. Peters providing that music there, ladies and gentlemen, along with Dan and Eric July's vocals. And I thought the two young men there, they complemented each other wonderfully with those vocal lines. Dan taking us back to the 80s and 90s with his heavy metal style screaming. Dan is just so awesome. I mean, Dan is just an awesome dude. And Eric July stepping up as well, ladies and gentlemen. And these two dudes just absolutely giving us jamming music. It's just wonderful music, ladies and gentlemen. It's high energy. It's impactful. It's intense. This is the kind of stuff that just absolutely grabs your attention. It grabs your attention and it does not let you go until the runtime elapses. And Dan Vasc just proving once again what a brilliant vocalist he is with this performance, ladies and gentlemen. The young man, he absolutely rocks it every single time. And Eric July as well. Impressive stuff by Eric here in this performance. These two guys absolutely rocking that NORFRICA vibe non-stop. I mean, this is the kind of stuff I absolutely enjoy. There was that, sort of classical epic orchestra, sort of almost choral choir vibe in it as well. I love when people do that sort of thing. I mean, it's one of those things that I absolutely enjoy, when people meld that sort of classical vibe into guitar-based music. I mean, it's stuff that just, makes you sit back and go, wonderful. So this song, it's exactly my kind of vibe, is what I'm saying to you. This worked wonderfully. And Dan Vasc and Eric July, they just absolutely smashed that NORFRICA vibe. And they, made us all sit back and pay attention. And that's what it's all about. Ladies and gentlemen, that's wonderful stuff. I recommend this wholeheartedly to anyone that wants to check out some metal vibes. I always recommend Dan Vasc anyway. But now I'm recommending Dan and Eric July as NORFRICA. I mean, absolutely enjoyable, wonderful, awesome, magnificent metal magic. Dan Vasc and Eric July created stunning metal epicness. That was awe-inspiring.